The Alderney Land Use Plan 2017 claims to set out a vision for the future with guiding principles and defines the island's aims and goals through ongoing plan outputs. In this, the first of 3 informal interviews, the island's planning officer, John Young, discusses the way in which the new land use plan will impact on economic development. Let's start by considering the plan's proposals for the western end of Bray Bay. That includes the harbour and the glacis.
Yes, well, the plan talks about the opportunity areas, a number of them, and particularly it's called Bray Opportunity Area. And the area which was previously set out for the marina has been redefined to include the areas of the cutting, the harbour, the glacis and Bray Street and so on. And we've set down a policy requiring an overall master plan for that area and the principles that apply in the various parts of it. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. For example, it's imperative the harbour is maintained as an operational harbour. Also with a need for warehousing and industrial facilities. Those have to continue. But there are opportunities there which we believe that should provide encouragement to future developers. The plan enables that. But there's a lot of detail in that. It's quite a complex policy. The one thing it does do is it focuses on the western side of the Bray area. And so there are separate proposals for other parts of the island.
Talking about that, what about economic development opportunities in other areas?
Yes, well, I think there are about 6 or 7 areas in the plan. They're listed in there. And what the plan proposes is policies to guide and encourage that development so we get the right sort of development that fits the site and it's in the right place. So, for example, by the Buttes area, we've got redevelopment already going on there. It's an important area of open space with a cricket pitch where Ordinary Week happens and the green lung area to the north of that. And the plan recognises that there's opportunities of redevelopment, mixed-use development in that area. That's one. Obviously, there are a number of forts, particularly most notable, Fort Torget, where we've set down development principles for that. But again, it's about having coordinated master plans so that when the economic drive comes, those opportunities can be taken. Also one for the Arsenal area as well. Not a wall-to-wall proposal, but again, a very selective policy allowing some development in that area. So those proposals are all in detail. They're quite complicated in the plan.
I understand that the plan calls for Victoria Street to be maintained as the island's prime retail location.
Well, yes, I think it's obvious to everybody in Alderney that Victoria Street is the heart. But of course, retail businesses are having a tough time. But we do need to have policies that help retain that. So the policies are quite explicit where they don't encourage, in fact, they discourage the changes of use. Where we have changes of use proposed, there is a test that they've been able to market the business and also that there is a question of the feasibility is tested as well, of the viability of that business. So those are new policies to, if you provide, help reinforce Victoria Street as our prime location. So the plan also addresses the secondary location down in Bray.
So where does this leave the cutting?
Well, again, the plan recognises that location is more suitable for selling large, bulky goods, white goods and so on. And of course, in that area, they've got the storage that Victoria Street is so lacking. And so, again, there's quite a complex detail set of policies there and wants to make sure that we keep this kind of public permeability, what's described between the public domain and the street and what goes on behind it. And of course, that is part and parcel as well of the Bray opportunity area as well. So it's quite a complex policy. I'd advocate businesses there to have a read of it and let us know what they think.
What about the provision of new office space here in Alderney?
Well, not only do we need additional storage space, I think it's about 5,000 square feet in the plan, but we also need prime office space. And again, the plan proposes we have policies that concentrate that development within the building or the town area of St Anne. That's the right place for it. That will reinforce the use of the shops and the activity of the centre of the island. But it also sets a hierarchy, giving more positive encouragement for the conversion and reuse of existing buildings compared with new build. So The plan doesn't encourage new offices on the edge of town and so on. It tries to concentrate them in the town area.
Excellent. Does the land use plan cover hotels and guest houses?
Yes, obviously, again, Alderney's tourism industry is vital. We have a problem of decline, and we recognise that there are circumstances in which existing hoteliers and others won't be able to continue in their business, and they may need to apply for change of use. But as I say, we've introduced those tests, the policy tests. They need to be marketed, and they need to have demonstrated that the businesses cannot be made viable in order for that change of use to happen. But even if it does, there is some guidance there about the sort of uses that replace it, because again, those are crucial. The plan also recognises, has policies in what we've described as unserviced tourism accommodation. This is a phrase we've borrowed from Guernsey planning system. And in fact, whilst we did consider whether there should be some check introduced on the use of existing dwellings to become, if you like, self-catering for part of the year, and there is no proposal to do that within the building area. But it's also recognised that in the green zone area, there is a very selected case in selected sites, very specially one, for a new unserviced tourism accommodation zone, and the plan makes a proposal for that at Soy.
I was going to ask you, have you considered the question of unserviced accommodation, but you've already answered it.
Well,
the land use plan is open for public consultation until the 14th of August 2017. Representations and objections to the plan, in writing or email, will be submitted to the planning inspector. Subsequently, a planning inquiry will be held here in Alderney from the 4th to the 20th of September, after which time Mr. Michael Hurley, an independent planning inspector, will submit his report to the BDCC. Finally, the States will need to approve the Alderney Land Use Plan 2017 in its current or modified form.